We are joined again today by Mr. Jerry Forte, CEO, Colorado Springs Utilities. Mr. Forte, how are you doing today?
John, good morning. I'm doing good.
Well, we're standing in here in front of a lot of stuff here. This is the Newman scrubber system. Can we talk a little bit about what's going on behind us and the significance of seeing this massive structure?
Sure. Well, what we're doing right now is we are stockpiling a lot of the equipment that we will be installing to build these scrubbers. And today, in fact, we're continuing a lot of the site preparation, concrete foundations and things like that, on which a lot of the equipment you see here is going to be installed.
And this is something, how is the conversation going in terms of, you know, there was some copyright, there was some patenting, kind of going overseas. How's that conversation going in terms of the success of the Newman scrubbers?
Well, again, I'm not completely aware of what Newman Systems is doing in terms of the overseas marketing of their product. I know they are doing some of that right now, but the conversations, as far as I know, are going really well, but we're focused on building the units here for Colorado Springs.
We'll kind of switch gears here. Going to last week with the Black Forest fire, I actually saw you at least one of the press conferences. Talk a little bit about CSU's involvement when it comes to the Black Fire, fighting that type of fire, the Waldo Canyon fire. How do you guys kind of play a role in all that?
Yeah, a lot of different ways that we're involved, and of course all of them are support roles, particularly in something that's outside of our jurisdiction. But we were involved with our wildland fire team. Several of our crews were out there actually fighting fires. I heard on one evening that our crews were able to save about 100 homes. So they were actively involved in fighting specifically the fires home to home to home. We were helping to staff the disaster recovery center, and we had just a whole host of people in lots of different kinds of support roles, everything from employees donating things for firefighters to how can we come alongside those that have been hurt by this tragedy and be a support to them, to how do we partner with Black Hills and Mountain View to at least share lessons learned that we were able to learn through the fire last year.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I know a spokesman from Black Hills came out. How does the conversation kind of go when you're talking about something out of your jurisdiction and yet something that affects so many people close to you? What kind of conversation goes on between your organization and the others?
Well, utilities are really like a family. I mean, we help each other out. A lot of us have mutual aid agreements with each other. So when somebody has some kind of a disaster or a tragedy or a large outage like that, we're all ready to pitch in and help each other. Last year, for example, Excel helped us as we were getting homes relit and back in gas service. We were there to lend assistance wherever necessary to Black Hills or to Mountain View or to anyone that really needed the help.
Because at that point in time, it's more about just trying to help the greater good, and then you can go back later and kind of figure out all the specifics, right?
Well, it is. I mean, for example, the air assets that were fighting this fire were dipping into lots of reservoirs that we manage, or that we at least inventory the water. So all that is being tracked, and the idea is let's attend to the disaster, let's get people safe, let's get people back in their homes, let's put out the fire or whatever, and then we'll reconcile everything after the fact.
So we're moving on to, we're moving into July, the end of June here, talking about reservoirs, talking about a little bit about the drought, the heat. You know, we have a little bit of rain, obviously. That is not ending the drought. This is, every little bit helps, but certainly that not going to resolve it in this shorter period of time. How are we looking right now in terms of the drought as far as Colorado Springs Utilities is concerned?
We're still in the drought, as you said. We were able to recover a little more storage over the past month or so. We're at about 55% storage today. That's well below where we want to be, where we've been historically. So we're still in a drought. We're still in restrictions. We anticipate those restrictions will go through the irrigation season. Of course, in the fall, we'll evaluate not just the need for restrictions, but all the different programs. How did they work? What could we tweak? What can we make better? We'll look at all that over the fall with our board. And then hopefully, if Mother Nature cooperates and we get a pretty good snowpack, we can move into next year in a better position.
And in terms of some of those tools you're talking about, I think last time we spoke, we're talking about that online tool where you can actually go and see what level you are, where you are. what type of successes and maybe things are you hearing that you need to maybe work on in terms of getting that communication with the public?
Well, I think the My Usage tool that you refer to has really been a hit. A lot of folks are using that. We're seeing over 500 people actually logging into that per day so they can track and monitor and really manage their use more proactively. That's been a good thing. I think there's lots of opportunities as we go through this whole season to look at the drought ordinance.
Yeah.
Are there things we should do differently? The tariffs, the market signals that we've been sending, are they appropriate? Should they be different? Should they change? We're gonna just sit down and look at all that, listen to our customers, listen to our board, and then make good decisions to continue to lead in this effort as we move forward.
Speaking of moving forward, conversation about the possibility of a dam going in, a hydroelectric station at the Pueblo Dam. What's that conversation going like right now?
Well, Colorado Springs Utilities, as well as Pueblo Board of Water Works, along with the Southeast Conservancy District, all banded together a couple years ago to put in a proposal with the Bureau of Reclamation to, in essence, be able to do a feasibility study for a hydro unit on Pueblo Reservoir at the North Outlet Works. Of course, as part of Southern Delivery, we modified that North Outlet Works and we actually sized that in a way under the direction of the Bureau of Reclamation to be able to accommodate a potential hydro. So the IGA that we briefed our board on yesterday, that City Council will consider next week, would allow us, together with Pueblo Board of Water Works and the Southeast District, to investigate the feasibility of building a hydro at some point.
And what sort of stresses would that alleviate in terms of producing electricity for the region?
Well, it's not a large amount. It's about 5.8 megawatts,
okay.
The nameplate, what we anticipate right now for a hydro. But what it could do is it could potentially provide power that could, through a wheeling arrangement, actually power the Juniper pump station for Southern Delivery.
And the Southern Delivery system, again, what's that conversation like? How's the communication going with the extension?
Southern Delivery is going incredibly well. I mean, we have 38 miles of pipe in the ground right now, out of 50. We broke ground a couple of months ago on the treatment plant on the east side of Colorado Springs. We just awarded the contract for 3 pump stations. And so almost all the major components of this project are now under contract or in the ground. So it's going well, it's well under budget. At last track, we were over $60 million of savings over the course of this project so far. We think that number will actually go up as we continue to find efficiencies and find ways to build what is a huge project for the state, certainly for maybe the whole nation. I mean, we don't hear of projects of this magnitude being built anymore because of the complexity of them. But it's going well. We're really excited and frankly wished we had it online today.
Is there anything else that you think the citizens and the customers of Colorado Springs Utilities would like to know about?
Well, I think the biggest thing is all of our employees are very, very thoughtful. Our hearts, our prayers, our thoughts are go out to those that lost homes in Black Forest. We want to do what we can in partnering with the various nonprofits to come alongside and be a support. Our prayers and our thoughts go out to the families of the couple that lost their lives and certainly all the friends of those. So we want to do whatever we can do to be community, to be a support, to be part of helping to move our community forward through this tragedy. You know, I really believe that as difficult as these things are for us as a community, they really bring us together, and you see the best that comes out in people when these kinds of tragedies happen. So we just want to be some small part of that, and all of our employees are lined up and ready to partner and to come alongside with that.
Mr. Forte, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much, sir.